Yo.
I'm your host, Queen Evelina, and this is QEB on WQEB 97.3, coming to you live from our cafe in Dorville, Georgia. Y'all, I'm so excited because I got Tekken in the building. Back here representing South Sudan. Okay, I think I only know one other person, Tekken, from South Sudan. Her name is Anger Amal. She graced the covers, I think, of French and Italian Vogue. She's a model in New York, and she's one of my TikTok fans. So she's on and one of the first people to support my charity. But I know her from TikTok. Do you know Anger?
Okay.
Anger Amar? Yeah.
I can't. Aker Amar. I
Yeah.
think that might ring a bell. I think so. But
Yes.
because like my cousin Naikut, she's also a model too. Because I'm also trying to be a model, guys. If you guys don't notice, I've been in the cover, not the cover, inside the middle. You just go through a little bit.
Right, the other cover.
the other cover. You know what I mean? So I was blessed, guys, with my own article in Elevation magazine. They done did it. I'm a model, mommy. I made it. Yeah. This right here. It was a big deal for me. Given everything that I went through.
Okay.
It's like I look at it like only you can stop yourself. No, go. My nephew. So I'd say that like only you can stop yourself from as far as you want to go. Because the toughest battle you ever fight is yourself. So the thing is, are you gonna lose against yourself, or are you gonna band together? So with that, number one, self-love is really the main thing. Because without self-love, we wouldn't be talking right now.
Very true.
It's
very true.
Because I'd say like self-love is so detrimental. It's like if you believe in God and if you love God, you got to love yourself the way that you portray God.
That is very true.
So,
now, is that the belief that got you into doing music?
Funny story about that. Music wise, music, like just like with the gang, with the guys, we just kick back and then just freestyle and whatnot till it just kind of went good and viral. They're like, man, put on the beat, and then next thing you know, I'm here, just like with comedy, So it's kind of like going with the flow until you're just in the middle of the ocean.
Okay. All right. Well, Africa is sort of kind of in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Did you start doing music while you were growing up in South Sudan?
Actually, no. I moved to the States 1996. So when I was 6 years old, I used to live in so we came straight to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, shout out to 605. Came to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and then we moved to Anchorage, Alaska. So I was up in Anchorage for a while, and yeah, man, I was told that I was class clown, funny kid, all my whole life, and then really dawned on me, it's because for those that don't know, I was born with a birth defect. I was born with one leg shorter than the other. I can talk about that now because I embrace it. Because if you can't have a little bit, you got to have all of me. So, and I'm at to the point that like just keep it pushing. If it's not your cup of tea, get you some black sugar then. I don't know. I realized that the reason why I got so good at clowning, being a jokester is because I used to be like, the center of attention and make everybody like, the life of the party, only because I would do that to distract you from judging me, So for 20 years of doing that, you get kind of good. So,
I would hope so.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm just guessing, came to Atlanta, first of all, Atlanta is the Africa of the United States. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
Every village, every hood here is like its own little village, and like you guys have the exact same language barriers. I say hi, I go to the west side, they be like, hey, going on, shout. I'm like, oh, nothing much, man. But it just be
Yeah,
like
it's
that,
very different from the East, and it's very different from the
Oh yeah.
Southwest. You are absolutely correct. So you were in South Sudan. You grew up obviously different.
Mhm.
Okay, you grew up different from everyone. Now, I
Yeah.
knew during that time when you were growing up, there were a lot of problems going on with Sudan. So, how did your parents handle having a special needs child and the conflicts that were going on in South Sudan at the time?
Um, is this like towards against like how did I feel?
No, just your parents. Like, what
Oh
was
my.
it like if there's conflict in South Sudan and you have a child that is special needs? How did your parents respond to that?
Oh well. So we were our family was one of the fortunate ones to actually make it out of the war.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've lost dozens, countless family members of 2013 December 5th genocide of our tribe, our people. And it was hard, man. When it's funny, like when people say like, oh, they run cross country or whatnot for a sport. My mother actually walked and ran across the country for her life, carrying us, you know, and we were one of the fortunate ones. We were blessed to make it out of there. The UNIC, had a program to take, some of the kids or some of the families out of the, the refugee camps because
Mm-hmm.
people thought that the refugee camps was, a form of safety, but in hindsight, it was just a target, like getting all the ducks in the bucket, you know,
Right.
and then my father, met his untimely demise during the wars and all that, and I was now his son and whatnot, and I didn't get a chance to meet him this year, and so that was pretty tough. Um,
I can
my mother
imagine because you
was,
were pretty young. You were pretty
yeah, I
young when all
was,
of this was going on.
yeah, I was like six, 7, 5, yeah, 6. Well, okay. In all honesty, in all fairness, I was more German. I didn't even know what was going on. I was like, guten Tag, yeah, yeah.
How did you end up in Germany?
um, all right. So I'm just, it's a deep one. Before I got this little thing here, my passport. Um, so I was born November 28th, 1989. That's the day the world changed because my dad, my mother, she gave birth to twins, I think, before me. So therefore, in our culture, we call it chuol. It means like to take the place of, as far like maybe like a replacement. Because everybody knew that she was gonna be pregnant with a son. You know, so then I come out, and next thing you know, I was born with leg position, front defect. So therefore, you know, it was like a machine. It's kind of like dragging us out. Knock on wood. But and then out of nowhere, some people from Germany, just flew down in our remote rural village. It's like, hey, we got a new procedure for anybody that's in a war-torn country. They want to help them out. My dad, being the king, he had first dibs. He's like, well, yeah, it's my son, my first son. Of course he needs help. They said, okay. We checked it out. They saw my piece was really bad. I needed to go. They said I was a great candidate. So my dad was like, all right, cool. Well, I'll go to them. They're like, no. Okay, well, my wife will go with you. They said, no, he can only go by himself. My mother is a very religious, God-fearing woman. She had to make the toughest decisions. And she did make a great point because she said, everything happens for a reason. They would not just come at this point, at this moment. God brought him here, and God will bring him back when he's ready. So my mom had to make the toughest decisions. If your feelings love something, you gotta let it go. So she let me go. You know, and for better life.
That's
So
tough.
hmm?
I said it must have been tough for your mom, to let you go. I mean, obviously it was better for your health and conditions and what was going on with the country, but it's never easy for a mom to separate from a child.
Right, and like mind you, we were in a village. There was no phones, no internet, no nothing. It's like we just see some white
Mm-hmm.
people come like, oh, hey, give us your son. What? Not only that, that I went
I don't think that'll work
across,
today.
right, and then I went
Yeah.
across the continent, like across seas. I would never been found. You know what I mean? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
so I went. I was in Germany. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I was 6 months years old when I went to Germany. My very first
Mm-hmm.
language I learned was Dutch. I speak in the Dutch,
Mm-hmm.
German. Um, the lady that was taking care of me, her name was Bettina. We just reunited last year. My mom is back.
Oh, okay. Is she
Um,
also is she African or German?
she's German. Yeah,
She's German.
she's
Okay.
she's German. Yeah. I was actually I was in the hospital called I was at the Peace Village in
Mm-hmm.
Oberhausen, Germany. That's uh that's
Mm-hmm.
the organization that helps like kids from war zones and um third world countries all around the world. I just so happened to be one of those kids. And to be one of those kids to actually is still here, and you know what I mean, trying to make a positive difference for everybody else that looks like me. You know,
Right. Right.
so so my dad calls the embassy, because I've been gone for the longest. He demands his son back. You know, so now here I come back. What my mother had to do is what my German mother had to do because she had me for 6 years. I was her son. You know, she was my mom. That's the only thing that I knew. If you truly love something, you got to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
If God just dreams it, he'll bring you back when you're ready. You know, I lost contact with Bettina 31 years. No phone, no nothing. Did not even know where she was. All I remember was I got dropped off in Africa, and I'm just like, what the world? you know, what
So
is
she
going
thought,
on? Yeah,
okay.
I'm like,
So she
who are
thought
all these
free.
people? My
Right.
my older sister taught me how to speak my language all over again. My father was assassinated, you know, unfortunately, before he could have got his chance to see me walk like a man.
Mm.
But I carry his last name, you know, and it's a lot, but I'm up for the challenge because sometimes I get to thinking, why was I born like this? But then now I'm like, why wasn't I born like this? Because if I didn't have the voice in the beginning, well, guess what? I built a microphone. I got a voice now.
Oh, that's deep.
So,
Okay. If you didn't have the
you
voice then, you got a
know.
microphone right now.
yeah,
Bars.
yeah, yeah.
Bars. That was bars right there. Bars right there. Okay. Okay. I wasn't ready for that.
You know what I mean? I got
Bars.
a little something, something.
Okay. So tell me, now what was it like writing your first rap? Like when you sat down and you put your first, rhyme together. Take me through that process.
Man, see, I was one of those wild guys, Like me, I never wrote any of my raps. I used to always freestyle them, you know. So I was just like, forgive me. I used to party a lot, so get in the booth. When I'm loaded, and I'm like, turn on the beat. Oh hell yeah! And then and literally all of my music, I freestyled all of it. I think maybe for one song, I guess, because like my mind goes faster than my hand does, So it's like you know. But yeah, I mean, I just love the studio environment. I just love because I'm very melodic. I love beats. I love music. And I love
Uh huh.
just a good vibe. And basically just talking about what's happening right then in the present,
Right.
and what could come to it instead of our minds is all over the place. I should just settle in one place, just to rest for a
Hmm.
second. That's what we all really need to do is just instead of
Right.
worrying, just being. You know,
Okay. If you could describe your music in 3 words, what would it be?
if I could describe music and what?
Your music in 3 words, what would it be?
Oh, uh, music. He would, and and insightful because I do drop a lot of knowledge. You know, and I would say anticipation. You know,
Oh, Okay. Healing, insightful, and anticipation. Okay, I like that. And who do you think is the most influential artist right now?
Right now,
Right now. Hold on, wait.
K. Dot, Kendrick Lamar,
You say who?
Kendrick Lamar, Kendrick Lamar,
Did you say?
Kendrick.
Okay, hold on, because it cut out right when I asked
Oh,
that question. Who did you say? One more time for me.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. Okay, I
Yeah,
thought you
yeah,
said King
yeah,
Von at first. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, Kendrick
yeah,
Lamar. Okay.
yeah. You
Okay.
know,
So when did you
Kendrick.
get into Kendrick Lamar?
Hmm?
When did you get into Kendrick Lamar?
I got into Kendrick Lamar, man. Ever since like I'm a huge Kendrick fan. I remember
Mm-hmm.
him back on his old mixtape days, man, when he had Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, oh man. And any of my, any of the people that I listen to, I like to listen to all their old stuff, like Nipsey, you know, um, Cameron, and
Mm-hmm.
Lil Wayne, mixtape king, who
Right.
else am a fan of? All of them. This is
Okay.
art is just like it's like a form of expression. That's why I admire
Uh-huh.
Kevin Gates, because he says what's on his mind. Can nobody take that from him? Because that's what
That is
he feels,
very true.
you know.
That is very true. You are right about that. He does
Yeah,
definitely say whatever is like on
yeah,
his
yeah,
mind.
man.
Yeah. So if you can work with any artist besides the ones that we just named, who would it be?
Eminem, I would have to dig Tupac back up, and uh, M, but and I would say Gordon Kwang or Awilo Lobumba, which is
Okay,
South
I'm not even going to
Sudanese,
try to pronounce that, but yes,
South
I
Sudanese
agree.
artist. Yeah, you
Because
know.
you sound like, wait, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it why. Why. Am I saying it right? I heard a
Awilo?
why and a ba in there. That's what I kind
Oh,
of got.
no, Gordon Kwang.
Kwang. Okay, yeah,
Kwang, Kwang,
close.
yeah.
Kwang ba.
Koang.
Yeah, Kwang. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Kwang.
I know the people in the comments are laughing at me trying to pronounce. He's trying to
Oh
pronounce it
man.
South
Oh,
Sudanese. I mean, I
my
tried.
cousin.
Okay, I made an attempt.
So
Okay,
what?
that's what matters. I made an attempt. All right.
Oh, the tips. You said the food, the tips.
No, I said I made an attempt to pronounce his last name.
Okay,
Okay. So what
trying
kind
to
of
turn
food
this
are
up.
you referencing?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, whew. All right. Like I'm like trying to hear, but no. All right.
Yeah.
So what was that again? I'm sorry.
I said that I made an attempt to pronounce his name.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then you
I mean,
start
we'll give
talking
you
about
either.
food. So now I'm distracted because we run a cafe. What was you talking? What did you think that I said? Did what did the does the word attempt sound similar to one of the dishes in your country?
Hmm. Malak. So in our country we have what's called malak. It's basically like a
Okay.
stew. You know.
Ah,
Um. Have you so have you ever had Ethiopian food?
yes.
Okay, so the injera, like it's kind of like a pita bread type thing.
Yes. Yes.
So
That
the
they
so
roll up in the food. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
so we're so I basically lived in Ethiopia. So our
Okay.
families in South Sudan is right next to Ethiopia or Addis Ababa. So we got the same culture pretty much. So we would eat like with injera and like what we call is malad, which would be like a stew on top of it. It's like consists with a lot of vegetables, beef, and then we would have a dish called wiga, which is okra. Slimy, looks like snot. Not my cup of tea, but it's all good. you know, but yeah. Oh, we'd have this one thing called madita. Oh, I know everybody just got lit when I said madita. Madita is like legendary. That's like our eggnog, you know, and like it's like a universal it's like what the black people use for Vicks for everything. you know, basically like in our culture, right? You're pregnant. Oh, get some Adidas. Oh, if you broke your leg, oh, drink some Adidas. Oh, you just got married. Here's a glass of Adidas. You know, ginger ale. oh my goodness. Mm-mm. I can barely hear you.
Did my sound go out on
Okay,
you?
yeah, yeah, your sound went out. I'm like trying to hear. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
you're good now.
Yeah.
What was that
Okay.
again? I didn't hear.
So, what project are you working on right now?
So with me, you know, I named my company after my father to keep his legacy going. You know,
Hmm.
because he's such an inspiration to me because he never abandoned me. He never left me when even though he had passed away. Seeing as I'm going through life and I feel like I'm alone, but he's been with me through thick and thin. So I named
Okay.
my company Today Unlimited. You know,
Ah.
number one, Today I am a Tut. Part of the lineage,
Okay.
King Tut and all that. My last name is
Right.
Tutgill, and
Okay.
I'm unique, so therefore I'm limited. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so Today Unlimited. Last King of South Sudan, and basically I'm building a platform for anybody who did not feel like they were, you know, status quo par. You know what I mean? If you had disabilities or whatnot, because I was that guy. I didn't have a voice,
Okay.
you
That
know.
makes sense.
So I'm making a platform for people that looks like me,
Mm-hmm.
immigrants, people with disabilities, for a chance to actually work on their own microphone, you know, and
Right.
start doing their own concerts because it it would like creativity does not have a beauty standard. Do you know
Yes.
how much creativity and content is just slept on just because of the sheer fact of feeling like somebody's gonna judge you? You know,
Right. No,
so
I do know.
and that's why I'm taking photography so seriously, is because if I can make you feel and look the way that you think you feel on the inside
Oh,
with God's eye,
yeah.
you know. So
Yes.
basically, with photography,
Uh-huh.
I it's very very important because you know it's it's an image, yes, because the only thing that we all keep when we die, when we
Mm-hmm.
close our eyes, is an image or something, you
That is
know,
true.
which is a picture. And if
Mm-hmm.
all of us are, have that image in our head in a group, that's a nation. So that's
Right.
image nation. If it's together, we cannot stop the imagination. You know.
Ah. Oh, look at you coming with more bars. Okay,
yeah,
coming with the bars. All right,
yeah,
y'all.
yeah, yeah.
Well, where can we find you? They want to learn more about you, Tekken, and your company. Where can they go to get the information?
Yes. So my website is actually in construction right now. Coming soon. So click near you. But you can follow me on my Instagram, which is Tutdeal
Uh-huh.
Limited.
Right. Mhm.
TUTDEALLIMIT Limited. I'm telling you, I don't
Mhm.
know how to spell it like this, my friend. And you can catch me on my Facebook page, which is
Right.
TEKTUTDEAL, and basically just be on the lookout. The reason why I had expressed everything that I had said today, it's like therapy. Simple conversation,
Mhm.
and therefore I
Yeah.
have a podcast called Healing Through Progress. Which is
Right.
on Spotify. That's where I double and dabble in mental health and the talks that
Mhm.
people don't want to talk about. You know,
Right.
because I
But so
feel that
necessary.
if I could share this platform with you, and I talk about my traumas because I'm open to talking about it now, then maybe you
Uh
would feel
huh.
better about yours. And the
Oh.
reason why I call it healing through progress is because if you set
Mhm.
yourself just tiny attainable goals, as you
Mhm.
overcome them, you'll subconsciously
Right.
feel that you're overcoming yourself and you're healing while you're progressing. Simple as that. you know.
Can't get no better than that. You're right
Yeah,
about that. All right,
yeah.
guys, we've been on here healing with Tekken today. I'm your host, Queen Evelina, and that was QEB on WQEB
Get
97.3.
the merch,
We out.
God Body. Shout out to Dolo. This is the merch, God Body. Go ahead, check it out. Go ahead, get your merch, do your thing. Mhm. Oh,